And they started like busting down all these fucking doors, and it was ridiculous because like 700 people were involved in this. But they were basically going door to door asking who this serial cum thief was, and it was fucking insane. Like every single person was in on it. It was ridiculous.
That's crazy. Kobe, how did you get away?
Oh, they'll never catch me.
Hi, I'm Dan. Welcome to the Slalt Cast. I'm joined today by the illustrious cum thief himself, Kobe.
I am the cum thief.
And number one procurer of cum thieves, Caden.
You
I'm
know,
the inside man.
you know how I procure, how I thieve my cum? By going down on women. Unlike a certain superhero,
Guys,
Batman.
I think no one... Okay, the Joker, if you're watching, Honor Among Thieves, you have to mute the stream right now. I think I figured out who Batman is. I found his secret identity. It's either DJ Khaled or Bruce Green. One of the two.
I really want to. You know what we're about to see is Marvel come back with like the biggest clapback, being like, "Well, our superheroes."
Dude, let me tell you, episode 2 of Loki was fucking wild.
The next issue of an Iron Man comic, like Iron Man is just going down on every woman he sees.
I mean, look, all I'm gonna say is there's a reason Black Widow got delayed and it wasn't COVID.
Oh, that's funny. Damn.
No, but
Yeah,
imagine being in that boardroom. So for context, for those of you who aren't as into both the cunnilingus and Batman spheres as we are. The DC has an animated TV series called Harley Quinn, which stars the titular character Harley Quinn, and it's kind of more of like an adult-oriented cartoon show. And
It's very good.
apparently it's fantastic. It came out a couple of days ago now that when kind of breaking the script for season 3, the show's writers wanted to have a scene where Batman performed oral sex on Selena Kyle, Catwoman. And the DC board basically said, no, fuck no. Batman doesn't do that. Heroes don't do that.
It's so bad.
It's just ridiculous.
It is hilarious, but it's so bad.
It's crazy that none of the wives of like the Warner Brothers executives have ever orgasmed.
It's just like you can kind of like. I guess you can kind of see the direction that they're trying to go in and be like, superheroes don't perform any sort of sexual act like that, or like
That is untrue.
Really...
Have you seen Arrow? That show is sexually charged as fuck.
That is true, and that's DC as well.
That's DC.
Okay, but look, think about think about Felicity's character arc in that show. Arrow wasn't doing that either.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. She was paralyzed for one season, and then they MacGuffined her back to walking.
I retract my statement. Never mind. They just don't want people to get that.
Well, it was more. I feel like it's a lot more sexist. You know, the undertones there are very sexist.
Absolutely.
That women aren't allowed to get it.
I mean, obviously, yeah. The joke is like the DJ Khaled thing, and people are making the comparison there. But like it is the same kind of thing where it's like, no, we're men and we get it. That's it.
Get it. That's it.
And especially in a show like Harley Quinn, which has been like on the edgier side of things, this is a relatively not edgy thing. And it seems like a
scene in
a
which
weird thing.
She shoots a man with a ray gun.
It gives him nut cancer. Oh, I really need to watch that show.
Is the second season on Amazon yet, or no?
I have no idea. I didn't know it was on Amazon because it was on DC Universe Online in the States. And that wasn't syndicated here into Australia until like fairly recently.
I know the first season of the Harley Quinn show is on Amazon. I don't know about any other season.
Universe Online.
It was a DC streaming service, but you also got comics. No, DC Universe Online's a game. It was called something. I think it might have just been called DC Universe.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But that when HBO Max started, that got rolled into that, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Interesting. But yeah. Wait. So does that mean it's on binge?
It might. That's what I'm thinking. That's why I was confused. Was on Amazon. Anyway, this is a tangent.
Yeah.
Which heroes do you think do satisfy their partners? Like, is it? Do you reckon this is like a Batman doesn't, but Superman does type thing? Like that's kind of where their characters separate.
Honestly, I'd have to say my money.
Give it up for Michelle. Sorry, continue.
Are we talking DC heroes only?
I mean, branch out if you want. Like, I'll tell you, Omni-Man definitely doesn't. He definitely doesn't.
I feel like Omni-Man does.
No, he used to, and he stopped, and then the show started.
Yeah.
DC hero. I mean, the Flash definitely does.
Yeah. I mean, well, think about it.
He's like done in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's exactly. He's done too quick. He has to like make sure that she gets hers.
Oh my god, his tongue is a propeller.
Oh, he has to turn it down, otherwise there's friction burns.
Oh god.
Mike turned it up. Sorry, I'm eating.
It's
this
all
is
good.
Fantastic audio.
Yeah, I like how you waited until we started the podcast, which we're streaming live on twitch.tv/Slalt Cast every other Wednesday, except next week as well.
I didn't control it, I don't
know.
control when my dinner is summoned. It comes from like a different dimension. It's like raised from hell or something like that. And
something like that.
yeah, Michelle is just waiting at the door until it's there, and then she's like, "All right."
That's really kind of her to wait on you every second of every day.
Well, yeah, Michelle's great. The hero that I'm putting down that definitely does do that, right? Now, hear me out. You have to think about it a little bit.
I'm hearing you out.
Shark Boy.
Oh no.
He's grown up.
No, but he's just not good at it though. Like he definitely does.
I mean, his wife is made of literally lava.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's an interesting dynamic that they have. They would have.
Do you think they have to do it underwater?
Or would she harden? Like, oh, that sucks because they're doing it underwater, and then he's like, he needs the blue pill, and it's like she's like, well, I'm hard. How come you're not?
Yes.
I mean, Green Lantern definitely does. Because it's part. I think you lose the ring. You get kicked out of the Green Lantern Corps.
Out of the pack.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway,
you
guys are gonna have to carry this while I eat.
So it's been like 3 weeks since we did a podcast. The last time we did one, we were in the hot tub. We traveled back in time. It was pretty exciting.
I'm sad I missed out for that. I wanted to be in the tub.
Yeah, well, you know what? It was kind of serendipitous because I don't think that you have the technological capabilities to do it with your graphics card.
That is true.
That would have complicated the matter. But
just been sitting on the sideline.
Kato just sitting up. I probably would have done like a window or something. I'm trying to. So I've got topics that I wrote down 3 weeks ago, and almost none of them are relevant anymore.
Well, yeah, we
got shouted out on covers in Chrome. Do you want to give a bit of background to what that is, Caden?
Big old Scotty Bars, Scotty Bees. Scotty's a mate of mine, and he's like a prolific Brisbane music scene fiend, and he's a fanatic for all the bands and stuff like that in Brisbane. And he has a show at the moment called Covers in Chrome, which is like a part of his series or whatever. Where basically it's like a Triple J thing.
Yeah, it's like a version. Make it in your garage.
Well, it's essentially like that, but more or less for like Brisbane-based bands and more or less for like underground kind of bands, and keeps it a little more fresh, a little more realistic. Like he's pretty diehard about it, which is sick, and it's a really awesome product. But he did one with Wheel Drive, good old friends of the
friends of the show. Friends of the show.
And yeah, he asked the boys like what podcast they listen to, and Tom gave us a little shout out, which was lovely.
It was very nice of him.
Tom's a nice boy.
He is.
Nice boy. He's a lovable boy. We love him.
Damn, they got real personal.
I'm like that Joel guy that didn't shout us out. I'm going to slander Joel.
I think he might be in the chat.
But Tom did.
He definitely
We
was
now know
in
who
the
the better half of Wheel Drive is.
Deary me.
Fucked it, Joel. You had your chance. You fucked it.
You know, we're never taking you back now.
No. But yeah, no. Scotty's lovely. Scotty's awesome, dude. Very funny. He loves the Slalt Cast. Actually, he's listened to a couple episodes. He said.
Yeah, he DM'd us and said as such. It's always
He actually hit me up because he wants to do an episode together. He actually would really love to jump on and talk some shit.
oh fucking absolutely. That's where I was going to take this conversation. I was like, do you? Because I know not to spoil anything. I know that you know him also. And whether we
I know
could.
him just before he was not before he kind of actually. I knew him before he did the whole thing.
Well, fucking there you go. You knew him before he was famous. That'd be sick. We're gonna have to sort that out offline then, because that'd be fucking awesome. Because I'd love to hear more about it and how it started. Because it's like a super go getter thing to just go and like start something like that and like reach
He's
out.
a pretty good dude to talk to. Like he's a lot of fun and he's super well informed about everything that he's doing, and he's got like very business savvy. Like knows the right things to do at the right time and where to be. So he's a good dude, good guy.
And it'll be great because unlike all of our other guests in the past, he has like audio equipment, so he won't sound like garbage.
That's my job.
No. So you've had since the last pod, Caden, you've had quite significant life
adventures.
Well,
life move.
Caden's last pod, I think
was the last one.
finale.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It's been like
So
7 weeks, Caden.
If people don't know me or my circle, this is going to seem really fucking weird because I went from being in a shitty garage full of shit to just now an empty space.
Caden went from a surprisingly well acoustically treated garage full of things to copying Kobe's background just slightly mirrored. Kobe, can you tilt your camera so your window lines up with Caden's and it looks like one room?
No,
you don't have to. You don't have to.
The better half of the room. we're actually in the same room. It's just I got the shitty curtains and he's got the good ones.
There's no door. There's no door in the room. It's just the wall. It's 2 windows. You each climb in through your own window.
Oh, I don't have experience doing that.
So no, what happened with what's been happening, Caden? Why the change of scenery?
I've been busy. I've been a busy boy. I've been organizing stuff for the band, organizing stuff for work. And I just recently moved to Brisbane, which is fun. It's been a mission, but it's actually been a lot of fun. Finally, I moved out of home and I'm in my own spot now, which is
it's fucking
fun.
huge steps, man.
Yay!
Were there
It's
any
easy, guys? Do it yourself.
were there any adventures in particular? Any notable parts of the process?
Like, it's been fun. It's just been like chaotic the hardest part has been getting everything up here per se, because like this where I used to live to here is like an hour and a half drive max.
So it's not like too far.
It's not too far, but it is just a bit of a
it's far enough to be inconvenient, but not like you're spending a whole day for a trip.
So it's like we spent 2 days kind of getting shit up here and getting back. And then on the Monday, we got some of our stuff brought up when my parents came to check out the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was fun. Like Thursday last week, it was our moving day, but we moved in like officially on Friday. And on the Thursday, my dad and I brought all the stuff up in a big van. And then just fucking set the house up real quick and then went back home. And then on the Friday, Summer and I brought everything up. And then just spent Friday getting everything set up and getting the house sorted. Everything's pretty like good to go. We're just missing a couple things like certain furniture. Like we don't have a TV at the moment.
Nice.
Shit like that. We didn't have a microwave for like a couple days.
That would be rough, especially because like you've just moved, you just started renting a place. Like the budget is definitely one of the main things, and to not have a microwave, how are you making your mee goreng ramen?
We now have a microwave.
Very good.
Before we didn't, so.
Wouldn't you just make it with? Did you have a kettle?
Yeah, we have a kettle. And
so you can just make it with
that's
a kettle.
true.
Like microwave, Fucking.
Okay, so how do you Caden, your story fun now? How do you make your mee goreng ramen? What's your process?
My mee goreng.
I mean, just like 2-minute noodles. What's your process? Yep.
Bowl, hot water.
Yep.
Plate. Done.
Interesting.
You don't even put the noodles in. Interesting tactic.
No.
I find.
So what I do is I take even for non 2-minute noodle branded instant noodles. The 2 minutes is the law. Boiling water in and then microwave it for 2 minutes and then whatever state they emerge in, which is often well cooked. No, well cooked. Perfect.
I do microwave. That just makes it icky.
No.
Yeah, icky,
what does the microwave add other
you're
than
plasmerizing the water?
You don't know what plasma is.
I do know what plasma is. It's the fourth state of matter.
Yeah, but what
Suck
is
my
it?
dick. It's
Take your hands
not
off your
quite a
keyboard.
gas, not quite a solid, not quite a liquid.
Yeah, cool. You've just said the same thing in different words.
But am I right?
It's actually technically a gas.
Yeah.
It's an
'cause hotter than
ionized
a
gas.
Yeah.
Well, no. Anyway,
Yeah.
Kobe,
Gas
what's
heated
your
up becomes plasma.
what's your noodle process? Do you
I
use-
don't eat 2-minute noodles.
Fuck, we get it. You do keto.
But it was actually funny when we moved up here. Like, I haven't had a gig in maybe a month, just about.
That'd be the longest without a gig in a while for you guys, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's the kind of the plan at the moment because we got some fun stuff. But it's like we hadn't had a gig in almost a month, and then literally the week that we moved, we had a gig on the Gold Coast. So we had to drive down on the Saturday and
Fuck.
stay down on the Gold Coast on the Saturday, which is fucking annoying.
Just all happened at the same time. Yeah.
It did. So the past fucking 5 days have been a shit fight. And then Monday was nice. Monday, my parents come up, seen the place. Monday was like the first day. Summer and I were like fully into the place. Had most of the place set up. We already had a shop, got all the things that we needed. So we were like kind of settled in. And then yesterday was just fucking do whatever you want day.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be nice, because like the initial hustle, of course, like the moving, like that you're still going to be getting things for the fucking foreseeable future. Because it's a crazy thought. Like you start from zero when you move out. Like you got to get all this shit.
All my clothes are in bags at the moment.
Yeah.
I still haven't unpacked them yet.
But it must have been nice to just have the day where you like fucking sit and breathe and be like, oh yes, I live here now.
Well, it was like you get like this moral, like, I guess.
I don't have to
where,
wear
like,
pants anymore, but should I?
but you're like, it sinks in. You're like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
And it's like fucking like damn, I've started a new chapter.
Essentially, yeah, it's pretty fun. Like I've been having a lot of fun. The only shit fight at the moment is the fact that I don't actually have a car because the week that I moved, my car shit itself. The transmission went. Transmission went.
Oof. Your car is a story.
Yeah,
Oh,
I haven't had a good run with this one, unfortunately. I've been very unlucky. The first one, yeah, probably could have helped it. Probably could have seen it too. This one, very unlucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was supposed to be fixed a week ago. And it won't be fixed till Friday, potentially.
Oof.
That's a yikes.
Could cost me a lot of money too.
That's a yikes.
Yeah, that's
Still down on the Gold Coast, so I have to go all the way down there to try and figure it out.
Well, hey, at least the windows can go up.
Yeah, well, there you go.
The windows can go up, yeah.
Potato, cons and pros.
Anyway, I have a question for you guys.
All right, hit me.
What's your question, Cody?
Do you guys remember in high school that history teacher? What was his name?
Oh, you're gonna have to give me more.
The Italian history teacher.
No, he's doing something. Don't fall for it. We didn't have a history teacher called Candace. We didn't.
I don't want to know.
See now he went for. Oh, he's. Michelle's a paid actor.
I want to roll with the bit only because I really want to know where it goes.
All right, breaking news. Hold on, breaking news. Breaking news, fellas.
Kobe's getting aborted 21 years later.
So, today's date is the 16th of the 6th, 2021.
Kobe's being told to leave the premise.
No, right. Breaking news. So, on Sunday, I think it was, my sister went to the movies in Bondi, which is out of the way. We don't live anywhere near
Kobe,
Bondi.
if you're about to say your... I don't want to bury the lead, but I'm alarmed.
All right. Now, if you know anything about today's date and the relevance of that, right? Somebody at Bondi tested positive for COVID-19.
Yeah.
Now...
That's my least favorite of the COVIDs.
It is. It's the worst, you know.
All 18, they're okay.
The first 8, I can handle the first 18. The 19.
Dan does like them 18 and under.
No. No.
So, anyway, my mum and I are going to do junk mail This is like the first time I've done junk mail in ages. And my sister calls and is like, "Fucking hell! I just got a message from New South Wales Health saying that somebody, like, the news dropped about a guy testing positive for COVID." And she was there that same Sunday. Now, they didn't give a time frame because people probably don't check out, and my sister probably didn't check out. So just then, Michelle opened the door and told me I have to call work because New South Wales Health sent her a message and said, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. And so does everybody in your household. So fucking living life.
I guess you're going to be available for pod next week.
So
you're kidding me. No, but that only has to happen until she gets a test. If she's negative,
well, yeah, she'll get tested tomorrow, and we'll play it from there. However, if that comes back positive, let me tell you how fucked and cursed that is.
That's fucking upsetting. That's
because
really upsetting.
Next Monday we were meant to be in the studio recording our first single, and if she's tested positive,
it's not fantastic.
Anyway, that's how my Wednesday night's been.
I mean, this always every single time. So, is the date for down public?
No,
Caden?
it's not. No.
Pardon? Oh, for me coming down,
yeah.
Not public, but it's far. The whole idea is it's far enough away for it to be possible. It's just
there's a possibility that Caden could be coming down in about a month's time, and
every single
time we've had something.
Literally, this is nearly the 4th time. Please.
It's so upsetting.
This is the second gig that Caden has had. Well, this will be the 4th time you've been coming down to Sydney, and your plans will be fucked. But I think it's Southbound's fault. I think that Southbound will never play a standing gig again. You know,
you can't.
COVID
will happen.
Sorry. Knock on wood. Hold on. Yeah, knock on wood.
My desk is, as you know, like when they get chipboard and they make it look like wood. Does that count?
Yeah.
Is that good enough?
Yeah, that's good
okay.
Enough. I mean, I could also hit my drums. You know, they would. Yeah, you know, that's fun. Why? My only question is, we don't live anywhere near Bondi. We have family in Bondi. But why the fuck did she go to Bondi for the movies?
Did she want a Bondi burger?
Why would she go there for that? There's a Portos everywhere, Dan. There's
no,
a Porto.
you can. Why would they call it a Bondi burger if you could get it anywhere other than Bondi?
Why do they call it a Big Mac if it's not made by Big Mac?
You don't know. You don't know the name of the chef.
Yeah, I do.
Wait, what's his name?
Cunt.
McAfee Antivirus. Mac for short.
Anyway, sorry, that was my breaking news. Sorry to interrupt.
This subject sucks because if this is a reality, like I've spent the past 2 to 2.5 months working my ass off trying to fucking put on what is going to be the biggest run of shows that we've ever had as the band, and the biggest in my line of promotion and like everything for the band.
And it's just...
And it could, again, just go up in flames overnight, and it'll hurt.
And it's because Scott Morrison can't vaccinate his country.
I will be in Spain, but with a silent S.
He'll be for the dyslexic audiences in chat. I can't even talk. I'm just going to leave.
The illiterate audiences in the podcast.
The illiterate audiences in the podcast. You just didn't make sense either.
Dude, anyway. I'm so free. So I'm free. I'm free.
Dan's for sat.
I'm cosplaying as an EB Games on a standard Tuesday.
I don't know whether Pizza Woody comes into play.
I have the shirt on too, but it's cold, so I'm gonna leave.
It's not that cold. It's only 14 degrees.
Fuck you, it's freezing. Hang on.
Cold.
Hey, I don't care. Fucking cold. I was gonna ask Google, but then I'd start talking.
Yeah. So that's so much fun.
Yeah,
Am I right, fellas?
It'll be. It's. I like the idea that it's getting like closer and closer to us. That the reason Caden can't come down every time, like that.
Yeah.
That's the final like bastion. Is Kobe gets COVID.
Yeah, and then the next time he tries, Caden gets COVID, and
So-
it's like,
What day
Knock on wood again,
was
sorry.
like what day did that? Was she in Bondi, your sister? Like what day was?
it was the same day. It was the same day.
No, but like what? No, I'm saying like what was that date?
Oh, I think it was Sunday. This
Sunday.
past Sunday.
I was gonna say like if it was like last week and it's only kind of come up now and it's like well you saw all of the boys so everyone has COVID.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
fuck. See, the thing is, right, and I hate to peddle this home because I know here in Australia it's not that large of a. It hasn't been that large of a problem. Like it's still been a very large problem. It's had.
I mean, when you look at our numbers compared to the rest, like even if you like scale the population sizes, like of like us in the US, like we have a much lower infection and even lower death rate than
it still astounds me how people act as if like without caution still. You know, people will joke like, haha, COVID doesn't exist, right? And it's like, well, you know, you laughing at that isn't helping. Like stadiums at sporting events right at back are at like almost full capacity, basically. And they're like packed to the brim. And if one person there had COVID,
nightclubs like our nightclubs are like fucking back into it. Like we had our
nightclubs
local
reopened.
The
as
Vinyl
well,
Room had a reopening over the long weekend.
And the
that
upsetting
seems like a
thing,
COVID nightmare.
The upsetting thing is like you can't. It's that weird balance of like, this is one case. We're gonna have to snap. You know, we can snap lockdown and try and contain it. But then, how many times do we have to fucking do that? Because when you're just saying to people, yeah, it's fine not to wear masks anymore.
I mean, you have to do it. And like, so the idea of the mask stuff being lifted is the vaccine rollout started, but the vaccine rollout is its whole own debate.
It's barely gotten to people, man. It's fucked. And the guy that had it apparently was in like the age range to take the vaccine.
Well, I mean, and then you have to also look at the media, like with the stuff with like the AstraZeneca virus, the AstraZeneca vaccine, sorry, and the blood clots and stuff. And it's like the media making people scared of the vaccines is not a particularly great thing.
And how it's called the jab. Why can't they call it a vaccine?
No, we're Australian. They do it all
over the world.
Get your jab, mate.
They fucking do it all over the world. They're calling it the jab. They're downplaying the importance of this thing.
Yeah, because if they could get the life-saving vaccine from medicine, people are going to be like, fucking hate medicine. I have thoughts and prayers. That'll work.
Yeah, fuck. It's annoying. It's really annoying that shit like this continues to happen. This is why you should have done a France and vaccinated the young people first.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for that, but then there's also... I mean, like, so the problem is that the people in charge of making those decisions are boomers, and they want the boomers to be vaccinated first.
Yeah. Well, it's also like an ethical decision, right? Yeah. Who's more at risk and whatever. But still, it's like who's more likely to spread it?
Exactly.
Is the question.
And it's definitely the young people.
And you need to target that demographic before you target the people who are more at risk, because it's affecting a lot more than just people's health. Like there is an economy still at risk simply because we're all not vaccinated yet. There is still people's jobs at like nightclubs and bars and venues and
imagine you're a bartender at the Vinyl Room and you've been out of work for like 14 months, 16 months, and you went back to work last weekend and now there's a COVID outbreak and you're potentially going to get closed again.
Yeah, exactly. And like people are starting to make plans again, and like I've been rather cautious, not cautious, I should say. Sorry, like I've kind of thrown caution to the wind at some points too, but it's still upsetting.
I mean, it's human nature to want to socialize, and like after being told no, you can't. Like, of course, everyone's going to. You can't discredit that, but it is like when the regulatory body is like, "Oh, you don't have to be as careful anymore. It's not a problem," and then it is a problem, and so like every 8 weeks, we're gonna have 2 weeks of lockdown until when? Like,
it's crazy.
It's very back and forth. Like getting thrown into that like roller coaster is frustrating and can be very demoralizing and like financially can fuck up a lot of people. So it's not having that structure is what makes it very hard.
Well, like, for example, if I do have to quarantine for 2 weeks, no matter what, I'm a casual worker. I'm not making any money.
Yeah, you're fucked, and you're not eligible for any of, like, all of that Centrelink stuff got rolled back. Like, you can't apply for that anymore.
So I can't. Yeah, so I'm fucked.
You just lose 2 weeks of pay.
Like, I'm not sympathy grabbing. Like, I'm financially fine. I can last 2 weeks, but
financially, I'm okay. I will not suffer from this.
Yeah, I know. But, like, if I wasn't, for example, right, I would have been fucked. Like, I would have had... If, for example, I was in the case of Caden, right, and I had just recently moved out and started paying my own rent, and
then you get like so you've just moved out, like started paying rent, you've just bought you've just furnished a new apartment, like bought appliances and shit, and then get told you can't work for 2 weeks. That'd fucking suck.
Yeah, that would fucking suck. So it's really just really annoying. Really annoying. Anyway, that's my spiel.
It's hard because you want to say people like be more considerate, but they've been told that they don't have to be considerate anymore.
Yeah, and you can't really blame.
I mean, you can blame
people.
The Australian Liberal Party for their botching of the vaccine rollout, and Rupert Murdoch for making people scared of the vaccine. Fuck Rupert Murdoch! It all comes back.
Fuck Rupert Murdoch. Yeah, fuck that guy.
God,
I finally, you know how I cancelled my binge subscription, Dan?
Yeah,
by losing my credit card.
That's a way to do it. That's a way to do it.
Yeah, you know. So now he can't even fucking trace me.
Yeah, I'm considering closing a bank account to just like see what stops getting billed from that account.
This shit gets taken out weekly that you have no idea.
Well, I want to update my email because I have an email that I use which is Outlook, and I want to update it to be Gmail because Gmail is you know Google supremacy, whatever. But I just have no idea what I could miss if I change from Outlook to Gmail.
So just set up like forwarding.
I don't know what that means.
Well, you know how you forward an email?
Forward.
Yes. So yeah, in Outlook, just set up like
you said forward. You said forward an email.
Forwarding.
You don't pronounce the W in forward.
You pronounce the W in forward.
Yeah, it's not like forward. Like it's forward.
Yeah, it is. It's forward.
That's forward.
Forward. Cool whip.
Iridocyclitis.
Let's fuck this. No,
comes back to Family Guy.
We're not doing this. We have two things we can talk about. The fucking Logan Paul fight. Let's at least give Ed.
I didn't watch it, but good for them.
I watched the highlights, and by watching the highlights, I mean I watched nothing, but I did see the fight. Yes,
I saw people making memes about the memes of Logan and Floyd hugging, but I didn't actually see any of the memes. I just saw the memes about the memes.
You know what? My opinion is it was like an absolute disrespect to the sport of boxing, right?
I wouldn't say it was a disrespect.
No, I think it's so. But Mayweather had retired. Like he said, he'd retired, hadn't he?
Yeah.
So it's a financial move from him. It's a fantastically smart decision from being like Logan Paul because he's just systematically taking down the greats that had retired and aren't in their like peak condition, but he can still say that like he didn't even win, but like he fought, like he can say that he got in the ring and went the distance.
Because
it doesn't mean the same, but you can still say it. Because that fight ended in a draw, technically it never happened. Yeah, well, yeah, Mayweather preserves his record, and
it never happened.
And then Logan Paul could say that he went the distance.
I'm more empathetic to that fight more than any fight that Jake Paul has ever done, bar maybe the Deji fight.
I can't wait until he fights Ryan Toy Reviews. That's my favorite one. Can't wait for that.
Because at least like it was just unapologetically, it seemed a financial move, you know? Like, I don't think that Logan Paul is somebody that doesn't take boxing seriously. Like, I'm sure he very much takes it seriously.
I'm sure they think they're the greatest. They're like God's gift to boxing.
No, Jake Paul maybe thinks that. I don't think Logan thinks that.
It's hard because, like, you can't deny the hustle that... let's take Jake Paul out of the equation. You can't deny that the hustle that Logan Paul put in to get where he is, and he's obviously a very smart businessman. and like he knows what he's doing, but he's also a complete piece of shit, and we can't forget about all of the fucked up things he's done.
I
think
after that time he filmed that dead body in that forest in Japan, dubbed the Suicide Forest, and what did he think would go wrong if he went off the beaten
path? A couple
path?
Weeks later, he was tasing dead rats and shit.
Yeah, but I think ever since then, that was 2017, believe it or not. Was that it was.
Yeah.
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 How fucking long ago was that? To just scare you with the passage of time. I think that like he's at least matured in sort of his entertainment career. Like it's not.
He's
perfect.
Definitely gotten better at like his own publicity. I mean, I think he has a person who makes sure he doesn't film dead bodies.
Yeah.
So
like I completely respect the fact that he did manage to get to the point where he was able to step in the ring with Mayweather, and whether or not your opinion on the fight is it was good or it was bad, no one gives a fuck, because they both walked away with $50 million or whatever it was, something fucking insane. So like, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, that is true.
Apparently, it was a fucking awful experience for the people who went in person.
Yeah,
because they're so like how seating for like a boxing event works for the uninitiated. There's like the rings. So generally, it happened like a sports stadium. And if you think about how those are set up, there's like the field, which is a lot larger than a boxing ring, and then like the stadium seating. So you have the people who sit ringside, which is basically they sit on the field, or like stand in that area often. And then there's like the first row, and then like upwards in the stadium, and you kind of pay depending on how far you are. I saw videos on TikTok of people who paid $750 tickets for like the front row, and they not only could they not see the fight, they couldn't even see the ring. It was just like there was elevated ringside seating, so they're just looking at the backs of people's heads.
Oh god.
And they went in. It was like a stadium that didn't have like a wet weather roof cover, and it was raining, so the ring was wet, and the people sitting ringside were getting rained on.
Oh, that sucks so much. Yeah. But speaking of actual boxing events, YouTubers v TikTokers. Did any of you watch that?
Are we turning into TMG, guys? Do you want to hear about my go karting?
No.
Well, then I was actually gonna switch it and then go to EB games, E3. So
Oh yeah, we can talk about E3.
We should talk about E3 because I feel like that's something that's pretty recent, and I mean I can dance forte.
I have not watched a single thing of E3.
For 2 seconds, Dan, can you put on the hat?
My gamer hat.
Put on the hat. Okay, perfect. We can now talk about E3. Dan has switched into gamer mode.
So my one sentence summary of E3 so far is: just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Okay.
So this year, so obviously last year there was no E3 because of COVID, and a lot of people in the games industry said, well, like E3 was dying anyway. There's no need for a trade show like that when companies can just go straight to the consumer with their own marketing and stuff. Like you don't need E3 to put on a press conference. So everyone thought E3 would be done for good. And then the ESA, which is the board that like the governing body that runs E3, they were like, no, we're going to do it in 2021. It's going to be a virtual event. And for the first time in years, they're bringing some of the bigger publishers and new publishers to the show to have their own conferences as actually part of E3. Because in the past, you think about like, the Xbox E3 conference, the Ubisoft E3 conference and stuff. They're not actually a part of E3. They happen a couple days before the show starts and in like different venues and stuff. And so how the games media, like you go to LA at the start of the week and like Saturday is Ubisoft, Sundays like EA and Xbox, and the Monday's Nintendo, and then the show starts on Tuesday and runs till Friday.
Okay.
And so like those events aren't affiliated with E3, but this year, like all of the big ones were actually. So it's weird saying all of the big ones because like PlayStation's pulled out, EA still didn't do their conference, and Bethesda's folded into Xbox. So a lot of like the conferences as we know it aren't like happening anymore. But like Xbox was actually a part of the E3 broadcast. Nintendo was actually a part of the E3 broadcast. Ubisoft actually a part of the E3 broadcast. So this was like a big thing. People were like, oh damn, maybe they can actually revive it. Maybe they can actually bring it back. And it turns out they couldn't. So the first kind of So there was 2 events running in parallel. There was E3 and Jeff Keighley, who runs the Game Awards and stuff. He did his Summer Games Fest. He started it the day before E3 started. And so the Summer Games Fest kickoff stream, it was like an hour and a half stream, game announcements, basically an E3 press conference, but like multi-publisher. And that one started, and there was a couple big announcements from that one. So like Elden Ring and Tiny Tina's Wonderland were announced in that show. Did you guys see either of these?
I saw Tiny Tina's Wonderland. That looks fun.
I know of Elden Ring, that it's a Souls-like game written by George R.R. Martin.
Actually, Kobe, I'd be interested in your opinion because I know you're a big fan of the Borderlands series. First off, did you play the Borderlands 2 DLC, the Red Dragon's Keep or whatever?
Yes, I did.
Did you?
It is possibly my favorite DLC of all time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sentiment of a lot of people, that it's like the best DLC ever made.
Well, I guess.
The best... So is it a standalone game? It's a standalone
So yes, this
game,
is a standalone game, and it's not technically part of the Borderlands franchise. It's Tiny Tina's Wonderland is like the title. It's not a DLC for Borderlands 3, and it doesn't. Well, it obviously takes place in the Borderlands universe because it's Tiny Tina, but it's not like it's a spin-off story. It's like Dungeons and Dragons.
Is it? Yeah, it's a Dungeons. Like, so for those that don't know, the DLC I'm talking about is a Dungeons and Dragons spoof, where like they're telling a story and your character is in the game and you're the character playing Dungeons and Dragons, whatever. And it's kind of just recapping the story that you've already played. You know, it's the same villain, but it's re-skinned or whatever.
Kind of with a more fantasy twist.
Yeah.
Which is what...
So like the enemies don't have guns, they have swords and bows and arrows, and like there's dragons that spit fire at you and whatever. So it's like a weird dynamic. So if they're making a complete spin-off game with that would be pretty fun.
Yeah, they call it like they used a term like looter spellcaster or something instead of like a looter shooter. It's like first-person magic and stuff. So the idea of like bringing like the Borderlands like weapon rolls and stuff, but to like get like a randomly rolled fucking magic stuff for Fireball.
Yeah. I think it could be massive to try and bring like something else to a Borderlands franchise, because I feel like Borderlands 3 kind of was where it capped off. You could probably bring a Borderlands 4, but I don't really see a lot more happening.
I mean, like that story's kind of tired. Like you feel like, I mean, in Borderlands 3, you open like 4 or 5 vaults. Whereas like in Borderlands 1, that was the whole game.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good direction, and that's like a good game. And obviously Elden Ring is one of the most anticipated games at the moment. Everyone loves FromSoft. Like the Demon Souls remake kind of got everyone reinvigorated in that kind of thing and waiting to see what's next. So that's cool. They announced a date for that, which caught people off by surprise. So the Summer Games Fest kickoff ended, and everyone was kind of like, oh, like a promising start. Like, no, it wasn't too crazy. There was a handful of big announcements, but like nothing too crazy. Can't wait to see where it goes from there. And then the next day, the announcements stopped. There was, from the Summer Games kickoff to the Xbox conference, there was basically nothing. There was nothing. There was like a handful of indie. So there's a lot of indie games that were shown at the Summer Games kickoff that were shown 4 or 5 more times throughout the rest of E3. And there's like, and it wasn't new stuff. It was just the same shit. So there was a couple like standout stinkers. So they announced Tiny Tina's Wonderland at Jeff Keighley's thing, and then Gearbox have their own press conference, and everyone thinks, you'd think, oh, well, they're gonna, what are Gearbox gonna talk about? Well, they make Borderlands. That's pretty much the only thing they make. So they're gonna talk about Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and there's a Borderlands movie. You think they'll probably talk about that? Well, yeah, so they show the same trailer for Tiny Tina's Wonderland and add nothing new to it. And then the rest, pretty much the entire rest of the conference is the CEO of Gearbox, Randy Pitchford, who is a very problematic person. He's had a lot of allegations thrown out against him.
He's also very weird.
He is very weird.
Just a very weird individual.
Well, it's just him on the set of the Borderlands movie with a bunch of shit blurred out behind him. And it's like he's bothering the director because they're like in the middle of filming a take, and he's like, oh, come over here and talk. And then like he starts saying stuff, and the director's like, no, we can't talk about that. And then they do that for like 15 minutes, and then he brings out Kevin Hart, and Kevin Hart says nothing. Like, nothing of note. He just is Kevin Hart for a couple minutes. And then it ends. And then people are like, why the fuck did we do this?
We need to waste our time for that.
And that was pretty much the story of E3 up until the Microsoft conference, where they showed... Did you guys see what they showed for Starfield?
No. Was it nothing?
Effectively. They announced the date, the 11th, 2022, which is 11 years to the day after Skyrim came out. But everyone was kind of like, they're gonna miss that date. The game's not gonna come out then. It's gonna get delayed. But it was just another cinematic trailer.
We'll see. There is concrete proof that they're doing an E3 next year too.
Yeah, as part of E3.
Because there was an ongoing storyline. Would you have guessed it, Caden? There was a story in this I guess it would be E4 because it would be like there's another E in it.
Electronic Entertainment Expo E3. The fourth E3 stands for E3.
No, I was going to say like anyway, doesn't matter.
Actually, I have a quick can I go on a quick aside?
The only part I saw of E3 was it was a lot of like those indie titles being announced. And like there was this storyline where the AI like partner, the co-host thing started taking over and they were like, it will continue next year. And I'm like, oh, that's cringe. That's awful. That sucks. Anyway, that's...
So I wanted you. We're talking about the acronym E3. I jogged my mind of something I want to talk about on the podcast. You're familiar with the captcha when you log into something, right? Where you like click on the fucking traffic lights. So that's an acronym. Do you know what that acronym stands for? It's arguably one of the worst acronyms of all time. Without googling it,
can a picture capped
CAPTCHA?
Oh, can a... Is the CAP can a picture?
No.
Can a picture thoroughly...
Computer. Automated. Picture. Telling humans exist.
So, Caden, you got fucking close. But this is... Okay, I'm going to read out what it stands for. And you... Like, it's going to blow your mind how many other words are in this. CAPTCHA stands for a completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. There's like a whole to tell in there. There's ands and shit that aren't in there. It's like 4 or 5 extra words.
Acronyms sometimes do have compound words. Not compound words. What are they? Conjoining words like and two in there. And
like
count them in the acronym. But the tell.
They turned Turing test to tell. That's 4 words. They turned it into 1 T.
Well, because it's all...
Yeah, that's not how they work. It should be capped.
It's all T's. CAPTCHA.
I think the fact that it's literally a sentence comprised into a word.
Yeah.
Like someone wrote a sentence and was like, oh yeah, CAPTCHA. Yeah. CAPTCHA.
But like computer administered is probably a better way than completely automated. I would say that makes more sense. Anyway, back to E3. So yeah, Microsoft, they showed cinematic trailer for Starfield, Stalker 2, which is a sequel to a game from the 90s.
Saw something about that.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. They showed a lot more from a game called Back 4 Blood, which is a game made by a studio called Turtle Rock, which is comprised of I forget what developer it was before, but it's basically the team that made Left 4 Dead. I guess ex-Valve employees. And Valve notoriously doesn't make 3s. Left 4 Dead stopped at 2, and it was like a fan favorite series. So that studio's come together and they're making Back 4 Blood, which is a spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, which looks very cool. And then they showed Halo. They didn't show a lot of Halo during the show, but afterwards they did like a 15-minute video that's like a breakdown of the multiplayer, and it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, the multiplayer looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then they ended on it's like a co-op vampire killing game. It was kind of weird. But the cool part about Xbox's conference was that everything that they showed is on Game Pass. And there was some like bigger announcements relative to the rest of the show, so people kind of chalked up the Xbox conference as a bit of a win. And then we go into another couple-day lull of more indie games. Ubisoft was in there somewhere, and they showed nothing that we hadn't already seen before. They renamed it Rainbow Six Quarantine because they didn't want to call it Quarantine.
I actually didn't get to check that out, but I saw like screen caps of it, and it looks kind of cool.
So I haven't been too up to date on my Rainbow Six. You guys are a bit closer to it. There was a limited time mode a while ago where it was PvE.
This was like 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, it was like early 2019 when they released a couple new characters.
It was called like Containment or something?
Yeah, it was Contagion or something like that, and it was just like a zombie mode.
Basically, they're spinning that off into its own game.
Yeah, because it was
you-
really fun and people really liked it.
You breach a facility. You go.
They did mention something about it where they were like, "Oh, we heard like heaps of really good feedback about this, and there was hints that it was going to turn into a standalone." But I guess nothing ever came of it, obviously.
Until now.
Well, I think it was supposed to come out last year, and then obviously COVID delays, and then the name change.
Maybe actually, yeah.
But yeah, so
they just have to copy and paste Rainbow Six code and go single player.
Well, that's the thing. It's a genius move on them because it's literally the operators from Rainbow Six Siege you play in this PvE game, so they can reuse a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then, but it also gets people excited because they're like, I can be Doc. You know, everyone's favorite Doc.
And I love a lot of shit like that, like when games do that, where they turn like what is like typically like a multiplayer game into some kind of single player PvE experience. There's a lot of games that have done that really, really well, like fucking Rainbow Six, obviously, but also Overwatch. Overwatch is one that did it kind of a while ago.
Well, Overwatch 2 is going to have a campaign.
Yeah, Overwatch
2 is supposed to have a campaign, which will make it really, really fun.
Did you see the controversy about Overwatch 2?
Yeah, isn't it just like
the
Overwatch
same game
2 as well?
Well,
Like
it's the same
Overwatch
game,
and
but they're
Overwatch
like
as well.
reducing the team size, and everyone was up in arms about that. It's 5-player teams now.
The uniqueness of 6v6 compared to 5v5. I now can't play with my 5 other friends.
And the other controversy about Overwatch 2 is Blizzard hates China. Oh no, Blizzard loves China. Sorry, they hate everyone else. Hate Hong
they
Kong.
got rid of Jeff. They got rid of Blizzard Jeff.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, Jeff Kaplan died mysteriously.
But fucking when a game like takes that kind of side, I think it's a lot of fun. It brings new life to those games because you're like, fuck yeah, there's more to do. Like fucking Apex was one game that did it, I think.
Well, I mean, Titanfall. Titanfall did it because that was Titanfall was a multiplayer only game, and then Titanfall 2 had one of the best campaigns ever made.
Well, the thing is that like when you take that and people find game-breaking stuff in a game, in like a competitive game, it has to kind of be patched out. But if you go, well, these mechanics that I found are really fun, can I make them into a single-player experience? Like that.
You can live out the power fantasy a lot more in a single-player game because you're not fighting anyone.
Yeah, and there's like you can choose.
Shit players feel good.
Yeah.
Well, it lets you feel. I mean, no secret. I play a lot of Destiny. And there's like a legitimate problem in the game at the moment. A bunch of developers got on a podcast and talked about it, where they're like, it's fucking awesome to feel unstoppable and like a fucking space anime wizard in single player. But because Destiny is PvE and PvP, like the PvP is in such a shit spot at the moment because you get one-tapped by everything because they've let like the power creep go. So it's a really smart decision from Ubisoft to spin it off into its own thing so that they can like have basically 2 separate sandboxes and that you can patch this one way and this one way, and you can feel awesome and tactical and cool and stealthy and amazing in the PvE one without it being like, it's obvious it's going to be punishing. It's still Rainbow Six, but like you can feel cool while not being game breaking in PvP. But how do you guys feel about it being a separate, I imagine like a $60-$70 purchase?
Depends on what it comes with. If it's just a $70 purchase,
it looks like it's 3 maps.
Three maps. If it's going to be updated, which people, you know,
I mean, Ubisoft are arguably the best studio in the world at supporting their games post-launch.
Yeah, so like maybe like not straight away, because it's in the same competitive field as something like Left 4 Dead. It is basically just Left 4 Dead and Call of Duty.
It's Left 4 Dead with that Rainbow Six spin on it because it does look less run and gun and more tactical, which is like the appeal.
Yeah. So if like it's healthily updated and on launch it's like $70, I might wait and see how the player base is kind of like.
So Kobe, what if I told you that you could simply subscribe to Ubisoft Plus and get the game for the low price of
game? No, until I get an Xbox, like a physical Xbox or like a physical PS5, that's when I'll buy and subscribe to Xbox fucking
Game Pass.
Well,
my point was going to be like it feels like the Rainbow Six game is like a seller for their subscription service. Because it seems like paying $70 for it up front seems like a lot, but then I could pay $10 one month and just play it and then be done with it. And then you let that run down your credit card for 6 years, and Ubisoft has you by the balls. And
I prefer purchasing my games outright. I
why,
said, until I get
why is that?
Because it feels it's this thing when I go onto Netflix, right? Right. I'm gonna give you an example. I barely watch Netflix simply for the fact that I will go to Netflix, I will scroll forever, and then I will go, there is too much here, I can't choose. Right? I go, this is so much, I can't be fucked. Right? But if Netflix was but the thing with Amazon, right, is that I can buy a movie on Amazon because you can just buy movies on Amazon. If I think about wanting to watch a movie, a specific one, I can check where I can buy it, and I can rent the movie, I guess. I can rent the movie for $15, and I'm like, sick. That's easy. I don't have to think about it because I've already made my mind up to do something.
So it's not like a digital ownership thing for you?
No, I don't get no.
Yeah, because I hate games. I hate that argument against like Game Pass and EA Access and stuff. Like, oh, I want to own my games. Because fucking newsflash, you don't own your games. Even if you buy them physically, you don't own that game. At any point in time, like Sony or Microsoft can just say, nah, you can't play that anymore. Send out a software update and you can't play. They don't even have to send out a software update. You can press play and they can be like, sorry, your license doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Digital ownership is a whole conversation.
So like that's why something like Game Pass or whatever, PS Plus or whatever it is, like I'd only ever use that if I had the physical thing. Because
but what about Game Pass for PC? Because they've really there's like
because
over 100 games.
I'm not going to spend $5 a month and then or however much it is, and then download a game on it and then play it and then just forget that I've downloaded this entire game when I could just buy the game outright. If I really wanted to play the game, I could support.
What if you know you're going to play it only for like a month or like a couple of weeks? Like, because you know, like sometimes we get into games where you can just tell from the outset we're going to be fucking red hot on this for a week.
I'd still buy it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Daniel will remember this when I try to get us to play Forza on stream.
I'm never going to. No, I'm not going to buy Forza just to play on stream.
It all comes down to like how much support is getting thrown to the right people. If it's just one of those things where like we, the consumers, are getting like all the benefits for it, yeah, that's great. But if it's not really getting anywhere that it needs to, like
if it's not getting to the developers, it
doesn't really seem like something I'd want to put my money into because I'm quite like at the moment I'm quite happily spending money for a game that I really want to get. Like the idea of subscribing to a platform is sick, but it doesn't always get aired in the right way with a lot of things.
My understanding from how this is only speaking for Game Pass, how it works for them. So everything that Xbox makes first party in-house goes on Game Pass the day it comes out. And obviously, so you're giving Game Pass the money that's going straight back to Xbox and they're paying their devs. For third party games, Microsoft will do a deal with them where they say like, oh, because they obviously have metrics of how many people download their games. Like you get this percentage commission of the subscription cost of the people who play the games. Plus, we're just going to give you an outright like amount of money off the get-go to support development and stuff, and like to cover costs you'll lose from sales. And then they'll give you even more if like the dev lets them release day one on Game Pass as well. So from the dev side of things, at least like so far, there's been people who've expressed concerns, but so far it sounds like the developers are getting a good deal. And it's a fucking fantastic value proposition for the consumers because it's obviously it's depending on what kind of games you like. But if you are kind of into like the video games, for basically the cost of 2 games a year, you get access to 100+ games on your PC and your Xbox. It's a fantastic value proposition.
But see, again, I don't care.
Like this is not me like evangelizing, trying to get you to sign up for it.
That's so much more effort. You know, when you say that even when you buy a game, you don't necessarily own it, right? I don't care for that either. If I just pay the money outright, they're never going to do that. You know,
well, that's not true. Cheat. Steam takes shit off Steam all the time.
Yeah, but you know, Valve is scummy. If I go like,
I mean, but Xbox anywhere, unless you buy even from fucking GOG, they'll probably take it away if you don't download it right. It's just digital ownership. That's its own
See,
conversation.
I think that it's a powerful tool moving forward. You know, especially with titles like FIFA and Call of Duty, how they get updated every year.
Well, so that's the thing. So like EA Access, you just get
playing
it
those
if you
games,
subscribe.
like that is fantastic value. But if I'm just, you know, wondering what can I play today, you know, oh, this is on Game Pass. Like, oh, but this is also on Game Pass. I'm not going to like spend time thinking about what I could play when I could just be like, oh, I can play this. I can buy it right now and play it. And then whenever I want to come back to it, I don't have to remember that $10 is being taken out of my account every month. It's just there. I've paid whatever amount of money that God has told me to pay.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. The reason I subscribe to Game Pass is because I know like 60%, 70% of the games that go on there, I would never just play. But the fact that I have the subscription, I will like at least try them out and it's worth it. And then there's like 3 or 4 games every year that I would buy that I get as part of the subscription. And then that's the whole value proposition for me. And I'm happy paying that and I don't care.
I feel like it opens up that ring too to like try games out that you really want.
Absolutely.
To. Like
and especially with like the cloud stuff becoming more prominent where you don't even need to do the download. You can just be like, oh, I will try the first hour of this on like game streaming. And then if I like it, I'll download it and get the best experience. Like it's really just lowering the barriers.
There's like tons of games that I've like purchased and played where I'm like, fuck yeah, this looks sick. And I play like an hour of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well. Oh well.
And then it's always a fucking process to refund it, so you never bother. And then
exactly. Yeah. So like I've wasted like it might only ever be like $10-15 because you know you're never really going to spend a bunch of money on something unless you know you're going to play it. But it was like having that luxury. I know that those bigger games that especially I've never played that I've always wanted to, but I've just never found the time nor the money to go in and do it. I know that I can just go do willy-nilly now, and it gives me that option. Yeah, I guess it's a lot of fun.
And then like as I said, it's great because the games come out on day one. If you want to be a part of the conversation, but you don't want to drop the $100 on like a new game, you just subscribe for 1 month, play it, and then like don't touch it again, and so unsubscribe. It's cool, and especially when they give it away for $1 for 3 months all the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's ridiculous. The last kind of game that I want to bring up is: did you guys see the Battlefield 2042 trailer or a bit of 2044?
Yes. That thing was sick.
No, I haven't.
What did you think?
So I'm just texting my boss. Continue.
About what, Kobe?
That I might have to quarantine.
I'm sure your boss is gonna love that.
Maybe. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I had to. I watched it. Yeah, no, I loved it. It was fucking cool. I liked the fact that it was like very on the nose of like it knows its community and it knows what people love, and it gave you all those tropes.
Yeah, it's like a return to what the franchise is.
Well, that's it. Like Battlefield 1, was it? Like what was the original Battlefield?
Not
the original,
like the old one. So they did Battlefield 4, which was like the last kind of modern one, and then they did Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, which were World War 1 and World War 2 respectively. And those were kind of like low. The games weren't necessarily bad, but they were low points for the franchise in terms of like people buying them and stuff and playing.
They were low points. They were definitely what people wanted. Battlefield 1 was huge.
Well, it didn't. It sold fucking terribly. It sold, and Battlefield 5 sold even worse. And then people see that's my thing with World War 1 and World War 2 shooters. People think they want them, but it's way less fun to have a shitty gun that jams and doesn't fire full auto and a fucking slow plane and a horse than it is to have a jet and a fucking bazooka. Like people think they want the World War 1 game, but they do. They want like the fucking Black Ops. They want the Battlefield 4s.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, they want to be able to jump out of a jet, bazooka a guy, get back into the jet, and then fucking fly a quad bike into a helicopter.
The trailer was sick. Like, I don't really know what's going to be new. I guess when you reach a point in your franchise, like, a lot of it just becomes rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
To a degree. But, like, it does look very interesting. I like the trailer just for what it was, really. I don't know too much about the game.
Do you think it was enough? Like, do you think you're going to buy it?
Me, I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never really been one to buy a Battlefield game. Like
I feel like that's Battlefield's problem. Everyone's like, yeah, that trailer looks fucking awesome. I'm not gonna buy it, but it looks like good for you guys, and then there's no you guys.
it feels very much like an EA Access kind of game where there's no campaign. It is just
that's
a
another
multiplayer
point.
game, and it's a Battlefield game, so it's updated fairly. Like the franchise gets a new game once every couple years, so it is like it fits that demographic perfectly for like an EA Access game, which sucks because Battlefield is usually really fun to play, but the gimmick of it kind of dies down a little bit.
I mean, I think it's
fairly
like
quickly
in 2021, where Warzone is like the third biggest game next to Minecraft and Fortnite. Like, how is Battlefield going to compete? And I think as good as this trailer looked, and like as fun as I'm sure it's going to be, I can't imagine this game being successful.
I think I may buy it only because like in the past I've never really bought Battlefield and played it too much, and I think it would be a nice little switch up. Plus, I did have a lot of fun playing Battlefield 1, and I could see
that game was fucking fun. Remember we used to get it and get in a tank and fucking like on the train and shit?
Yeah. So it's like I might get it for the gimmick of it and like actually playing it for fun and just doing what you do when you get games and just sort of merging yourself in it for like a fucking month or two. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I might get it. I think I might get it. I might hold that statement.
I probably will wait until Game Pass, if I'm being 100% honest, because EA and Game Pass have like a good relationship. It'll be on there in like 3 months because no one will buy it.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it was Nintendo conference. The Metroid game, which did we talk about that on the podcast or on the stream? Talked about it on the
stream. We mentioned it on the stream.
Yeah. So they're doing a 2D Metroid that they announced 17 years ago. It's finally coming out. Mario Golf, Mario Party, Monkey Ball, and then most importantly, Breath of the Wild 2 has a nebulous date of 2022, which it's not gonna hit. I guarantee you.
Oh, maybe December 2022.
No.
Maybe.
No, they're going to wait to see what the exact date Horizon Forbidden West comes out and release the day before.
I'll just have the game sitting in a fucking, like, USB.
Yeah, it's been done for 3 years. They're just waiting for Horizon to come out.
Well, isn't it the same map? All the same assets?
So
Nothing's really
it's
changed?
the same, I guess it's calling it an overworld is weird because it's like the same map, but they're adding like a sky islands to it. And there's like a new villain and a bunch of new powers. It looks like it's gonna be. I mean, like time travel is a very Zelda mechanic, and it looks like that's what this game is. Like people have broken down the trailer, and it's if you listen at this time code, it's actually this sound effect played in reverse. And there's like a bunch of those, and there is like two kind of distinct looks to Link, which people are like, it's young Link and old Link.
Okay.
I love when people break down like trailers. Or
they spend all that time for something that they could just wait for. They could just wait for, and
but it's like, oh look, this and this are linked because they both do a similar effect, and it's like, what? Like
just wait for it.
I saw one today which was like somewhat funny. I just thought it was a bit over the top because it was like someone took the Spider-Man Far From Home or No Way Home trailer, like the animated title screen or whatever they had, and placed it next to the Into the Spider-Verse title and was like, ooh, see what's coming. And they both do like the weird little flash glitch thing. And it's like, it could be a reality. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, just
you're
shut
like
the fuck up.
You're looking for it at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that's people wonder like, how do movies and shit get so overhyped? It's because people do stuff like that. They build it up what they want it to be in their own head, and then when it's not that, because it was never that, and they get disappointed.
People write their own narrative for these things, and then when they don't get it, they're like, "What the fuck? Why didn't I? Why? Where's my?
You ruined Sonic.
Where's my Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man?"
God, I just want old Sonic back. I liked it when he had human teeth.
That new Spider-Man movie is going to be a fucking train wreck when people realize that nobody is back. It's just another Tom Holland film.
Yeah, they keep like Tobey Maguire keeps saying like, "I'm not in it. I'm not in it."
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not in Spider-Man.
Guys, he's saying he's not in it, but it's just like how when they say no, but their body is telling them yes.
Marvel's not allowed. Like Marvel's telling them they're not allowed to say yes. So
even though
say no.
I saw an Instagram post today that was I think the title was Fast and Furious 9 star Tyrese says that Morbius is a part of the MCU. And I was just like, oh yes, you are reaching for stories. It's a slow news day in the comic book world that they're interviewing Tyrese about the MCU.
Oh god.
Speaking of, Fast and Furious 9 comes out in like 3 weeks. Are you excited? I'm fucking excited.
Are we doing a binge watch? I'm gonna be in quarantine, so we can do a watch
I'm busy
along.
that day, actually. No, I mean, I'd love to.
Yeah, I might be in quarantine for 14 days. So
Yeah, we'll all come over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Party
we
at
could
Kobe's.
use the cinema room.
Oh,
Oh wait, no,
okay.
Sloan also has to quarantine for 14 days. That's a.
Just play your drums loudly.
Anyway, Dan, I think this is the final bit of the episode. So I guess the question really boils down to is where can the kids
I don't.
find
I
me?
never go.
And it's-
Good, very good.
Yeah, have a look at that. I did it fucking sneaky on you. Have a
I
look
thought
at that.
you were gonna do the thing where you try and make me go first, and that's not how it goes because I do the whole spiel.
Why? Are you like Batman?
I get it. That's it.
Okay, well, they can. You can find me at _55 Kirby 55 _ and at South_bound on South_bound _band on Instagram and Kirby _55G
And
or just Kirby _55 on
Twitter. And very importantly, at southbound78.bandcamp.com to hear their new demos.
Hell yeah.
Caden,
Yes.
Yeah.
where can the kids find you?
You check me out of my band. Just look out my band. I'm trying to make it work. Trying to have some fun with it. No, I shouldn't say that. That sounds worse. Look me up in my band. Verum.band on Instagram. We got a Facebook as well, Spotify, all that shit. We got a lot of stuff happening on Friday. I've spent a lot of time on it, so no one fucking move. No one move.
Stop getting COVID.
Let it happen.
Hey, Caden.
Alright.
Yeah, fuck.
And
We
then
didn't
do
even.
it
I guess we
fucking-
could talk about that.
Messaged me
on
just
next week.
then. The test came back positive.
Nah, it's a lie.
That's
But
a lie.
you would have
I lied
reacted
to you.
far more
I would,
extremely
yeah,
to
I
it.
would have,
I
yeah.
was going to say.
You can find me at DanielF737 on Twitter and Instagram. You can find the Slalt at Slalt wherever you go to find people, you fucking weirdo. That's on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, twitch.tv/Slalt, youtube.com/Y, lowercase m1. No, we don't have a vanity URL on YouTube. Just search up Slalt and hit that subscribe button so we can get there. So the Slalt posts every other week except next week because we missed last week because of State of Origin. Next week's Origin as well, isn't it? Fuck.
Yes.
No, it's on a Sunday. It's on a
Oh,
Sunday.
it's on the
don't
Sun.
worry.
Oh, true.
That's
Okay,
on
so
a
next
Sunday.
Wednesday you'll get an episode as well to make up for that. And also make sure you. Speaking of State of Origin, check out the Footy Talk podcast. Slalt presents Footy Talk. It's the best show we make. Joseph's fucking killing it with that. So just search Footy Talk on Spotify and look for the little short salt shaker icon, and you'll know it's the one that we're talking about. Now, gents, we need to go because I need to figure out how I can make Batman going down on Catwoman the thumbnail without getting demonetized.
Very easy. You get a picture. You get a PNG of a bat. Get a PNG of a cat. You put the bat at the cat on the bottom.
Bat on the cat on the mat.
Bat on the
Cat
cat.
and a bat. My favorite Doctor
Stuck in
Seuss.
the pussy.